Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and together with Eitan, today we are discussing how to quantum leap to your next level. And that's because this week contains, or I should say, this week contains the beginning of a very powerful opportunity that supports us in many ways to take a bigger jump, to expedite the process to meeting our next level and overcoming the potential barriers that are between us and our next level, not only in this week, but for the entire year. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most powerful and practical tools to navigate the coming 7 days through the teachings and tools of Kabbalah. And even though every episode is focused on the unique gifts and potential pitfalls of this week, the lessons and tools that we share are really timeless. And this week is no different. We're about to enter a cosmic window this Wednesday night called Sukkot, which is both a personal and global window that opens up for us to increase our capacity to reveal light for the coming year. Again, on a personal level and a global level, and we want to talk about what that means for each of us individually in our work this week. That work is going to continue into next week as well, but next week's episode we'll talk about what that means. So today we're really talking about the process, the internal process of growth and how it happens not only this week, but every week. Also specifically, what do we need to pay attention to this week so that we don't miss the window and the energy that Sukkot affords us personally and globally. Where should we start, Eitan?
Good question. And the first question is, I would say, what does it mean next level? My next level? So does it mean there is a known next level for me? I just don't know how to tap it? The answer is yes. So Kabbalistically, in every area in our life, in relationship, in business, in self-confidence, in happiness and joy, and in spiritual transformation, there is the level that I acquired from past lifetime, through this lifetime, through the work, through the processes I went through, and there is my potential. My potential is known since creation. But there's a barrier between the level that I'm at, and that barrier represents itself as doubt, as fear, to the next level that is there somewhere. And once in a while, we're getting a glimpse of what's my next level, what is the courageous act I need to do. But there's a barrier. That barrier very simply makes it uncomfortable to say, okay, I have a gut feeling this is the right thing for me to do. That's my next level. That's the courageous action. And just do it. No, there is a barrier. And that barrier makes it uncomfortable, makes me feel not safe. And even though I know staying stuck in the same level in my relationship, it's actually not going to make me happy, but we're still scared. So that next level, we call it in Kabbalah surrounding light. Inner light is my present level, my potential. My next level is surrounding light. What happened when you already reach your next level? Then relative to that, there's another surrounding light. So first step to realize we all have next level within us. How do I access it? So for me, when we're speaking about this holiday called Sukkot, which is a cosmic opening to access our surrounding light, is be open to listen to your gut feeling, because the cosmic opening that's available this week is that the barriers that manifest themselves as doubts, as fears, of self-judgment, as overthinking about what will be if, is less effective. So let's first step, and then we'll speak about many tools specifically, but first step, are you open for your next level? If yes, set daily time. Tell the universe, tell the light, I'm open to my next level. I'm open to manifest it through intuition, gut feeling, a message from a friend, an interesting story that you just read, a random book that you just open and you say, wow, it's exactly what I need to know. Step number 1 is being open. What would you say step number 2 is, Elisheva?
Well, I think before we even get to step number 2, what if I like my current level? Like I'm thinking, a lot of people who are listening now are on a spiritual journey, have made effort and are enjoying the benefits of that effort, might not want to rock the boat, might not want to, some people say you don't want to tempt fate. You want to leave good enough alone. Why would I even want to embrace my surrounding light and get uncomfortable and step into the next level of my potential?
So I would challenge you and say, do you really like to stay where you are? We all have this deep gut feeling that tells us, everyone, if I'm not going to improve, I'm going to be stuck. I'm going to be stale. I'm going to lose appreciation. I'm going to lose my inspiration. One of the biggest gifts of spiritual connection, indication that I'm spiritually connected, is feeling inspired. If you are not permitting newness to your life, new challenges, which is practically means be willing to go beyond the comfort zone. Not everything has to be uncomfortable, but in the right places beyond the comfort zone, you're not going to open yourself for newness, which manifests itself as being inspired and excited. It's essential. I think in our gut, we know that.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely. And I think also what you said before, the universe wants to see our willingness. Maybe that's really step 2 to your step 1 is being willing to be uncomfortable, to sit in the unknown, to be vulnerable, to feel weak even. That willingness is actually what's more important, or the universe wants to see our willingness and doesn't necessarily need to put us through the discomfort. That desire to welcome or to embrace whatever is required for that next level is what's essential. Whether or not it actually needs to be as uncomfortable as you're afraid it might be, it rarely is as uncomfortable. And I think that that's part of the beauty of the opportunity of this week, is that you don't really get to grow unless you are called to grow. I'm thinking of a teaching we heard from a few years ago from Michael Berg, that we know that the Kabbalists would look so forward. Our teacher, Rav Berg, would spend every minute in the structure of what's called the sukkah, which is, on one hand, some people create it and sit in it and use it to connect to the energy of the week, but it's also about sitting in the shadows. That when you're in a period of unknown or uncertainty, that's really the only time that you get to grow. When things are in your control, or you have a handle on it, it's going according to plan, or at least most of the things in your life are where you want them to be, there isn't the opportunity to stretch it outside of that comfort zone, or to lean into the discomfort. So the Kabbalists would look forward to those times of uncertainty, because that was really the only time for exponential growth. Incremental growth comes with being proactive. Exponential growth comes when you're willing to do whatever it takes to grow and to get to that next level and to be aligned with the light despite the darkness, to live like the light, to behave like light, even though it appears to be dark in your life. And for me, I get excited about that teaching because especially in today's reality, there's a lot of unknowns and uncertainties between, the politics and the weather and the unrest in all parts of the world. There is so much that's not clear and not going to plan that it's an everyday practice, especially for those of us who are on a spiritual path, to maintain and grow not only my certainty, but also the ways that I show up to shine my light despite the darkness. So for me, that's step 2 is really the willingness to shine despite the darkness, despite the fear or how it looks or what's worrying me about everything.
I love it. Something that's important, and that's the tools I want to share, that this holiday, Sukkot, has to do also with joy. Because when we hear, oh, we have to move towards next level and it's uncomfortable, it's actually not joyous. Ah, another stretch, another pain. And actually, from this Wednesday for a week, what's available is how do I access my next level with joy? Not just for this week, for the year. I want to plant that seed. So let me give you a few tools and share with you a few tools. When you get a thought that comes beyond logic about calling someone, that's suggesting you to do something that you would call logically a risk, a clear thought about, wow, lets me let go of something. You can call it a gut feeling. You can call it a thought beyond logic. If you think too much about it, you can call it an uncomfortable suggestion. But after the initial clarity, it comes from a deeper place, from your soul, from your surrounding life. Kabbalistically, faster you embrace it and jump to do it and to follow through with attitude of joy, even though if you think too much about it, it will, it's uncomfortable, but faster you embrace it with energy of joy, you'll get more courage to do it, and it will be joyous experience. What will make it scary and uncomfortable? When you start to calculate and to overthink the ramification of your action. So that's actually part what we want to open ourselves is that courage to listen and to follow through. That's the problem. Very often, there's disconnection inside. I know what's the right thing, but I don't feel like doing. Let me be safer. And then you get stuck. So that's one tool. Another thing, and you said something very important, Elisheva, because Sukkot this week connects to unknown, beyond my control, beyond my plan. Actually, the whole structure of Sukkot, that concept of Sukkot, is supposed to be a temporary house structure that is vulnerable to the winds, to the weather, and you cannot anchor it really to a physical building. It has to be made from the vegetation kingdom and so on. So what is the idea there? The logical nature, the human nature, the ego nature is to protect the known. Our soul loves the next level. Next level means I don't know exactly the plan, because if I would know, it will not be next level. I don't have specific expectations how it's going to look like. And it might be opposite of what I thought. That's what makes it surrounding light. Surrounding light is the potential that I don't yet grasp. I might have sparks of thoughts and feeling, but I don't grasp. So the mere fact, unexpected, unknown, faster you embrace it, joyous that process will be. I'll give you personal examples. In my journey in the Kabbalah Center for many years, I was called to be in different Kabbalah centers all over the world, sometimes for a week, sometimes for 2 months, sometimes for 6 months, and sometimes for a few years. And sometimes it's because I was needed, and it was important, and it was last minute experience. I've noticed every time I got this calling of, okay, it's the time to go to the next level. And I would overthink, will I like it? This particular city, Mexico City, will it be comfortable? What about the language? How my family will feel it? The beginnings were tough. When I practice, at the moment I'm hearing where I'm going, I love it. Let's go for it. Embrace it. Jumping from leading from trust and heart, and not leading from thoughts and calculation. The experience was so much more joyous. So actually this week we open ourselves that shift to the next level, not just for this week, for the year, will come from joy. By the way, that's what really joy is about. Joy comes from surrender and trust, not from counting, having the pleasure that I want. Real inner joy and real inner peace comes from surrender to what's beyond, trusting what's beyond, willingness to face the unknown from the heart. And that skills, actually the skills to have inner peace and joy, comes also connected to this week.
I think you, without realizing it, you shared an example of something that we say on repeat in almost every episode, but perhaps one of the best examples we've ever given is when we say that our consciousness creates our reality, right? You, in that example of, let's say, going to Mexico City, you were going, right? That was the plan. There was a plane ticket, there was, in the physical reality, that's what was happening. But your consciousness about it determined how you experienced it. And this whole idea of willingness, embracing, welcoming, joyfully, with excitement, it literally changes the experience. We may need to be in a certain place. You may need to be at someone's party or at a business meeting, or all the physical details may not change, but our internal energy about what's happening determines the quality of how we experience that meeting, that party, that dinner. And it's almost like the universe wants us, and the Creator, knowing our fullest potential, gives us opportunity after opportunity to redirect. So for example, let's say in that moment that you realized, wow, I'm overthinking it, or wow, I'm getting stuck in the weeds, it's not what this is about. And the moment you flip the switch, you already shift into a better version of the movie. And I think it's important to emphasize that, because I know for the people that I've been speaking with over the last few weeks who consider themselves to be people who are focused on internal growth and spirituality and expansion and elevation, when they mess, I actually had someone come up to me this weekend and say, I was so upset today. Did I mess up? Did I ruin everything? All the effort that I've been making, or I got so angry today. Now I'm so worried. Did I ruin all of my work? And the answer is a very big no. The moment that we flip the switch, I like to visualize even like train tracks, the one train goes down the line and there it goes this way, and then another train comes and the train switch that way to take the next train in the next direction. We literally switch tracks. And, I invite everybody to try it, to use that support this week that we have to embrace the uncomfortable. It's our natural tendency to respond the way we've always responded. We have people say, oh, I'm an angry person. Oh, I'm just a judgmental person. Oh, I'm a control freak. That's their brand. And it's automatic pilot. It's reflexive for us. It's so uncomfortable. One of the most uncomfortable things is to interrupt an old pattern like that, something that's so ingrained and so unconscious, to interrupt it, to try a different response, a joyous response, an excited response, a curious response. I can't wait to see who's waiting there for me when I get there. I can't wait to find out what the universe has in store for me, why I'm being sent there, or why our meeting changed from this day to this day. I can't wait to find out what's behind it. That attitude shift literally changes the experience that you have when you get there. And to try that, not only this week, but as Eitan said before, we're establishing a new imprint, a new blueprint for ourselves for the year when it comes to our experience of joy, of inner peace, of transitions and transformation. Can we manage to rise above those old patterns and habits this week? Because if we can, we create a year of greater ease in shifting to different responses, to different experiences, to embracing the unexpected with joy and with excitement. And so I really hope that for all of us, we can use that as a motivation to take the work this week seriously, of being open-minded, embracing what's new and difficult and uncomfortable, not only for the sake of seeing what's going to happen this week, but for creating that blueprint of greater ease through these kind of processes throughout the year.
Definitely. Some people might ask, some of our listeners might ask, what about if I followed through with I thought it's my intuition, and at least in a practical world, it failed. It didn't bring the fruits that I hoped. It didn't take me to the next level. What about that? So very interesting. Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center 100 years ago, saying, sometimes you don't know what decision to make. What is the best way to make decision when you face an unknown? You're willing to take an action to go right or to go, but you have no clue. So he's saying that, number one, like we said before, being open and being honest. Talk to the light, talk to the universe, talk to the creator. I really want to know what road should I take. I'm open, even though I'm a little afraid to go left, but I'm open to do whatever it takes to go to the next level. And then he's saying, then, whatever feels right or is close to right, go for it. And then he said, even though, because you truly asked and you truly want to go to the next level without an agenda, without calculation, what's going to happen to you and if your ego will be served. So even it will look like it was a wrong decision, it will turn to be right. You will grow from them. And when you're not really asking, you're just impulsive, and you're not actually looking at the bigger picture, which is connecting more to the light and connecting to your next level. So very often, even though it was the right decision, it will turn to be limited. So don't worry about what's going to happen. The fact that you have intention to go to the next level, stronger connection to the light of your soul, and the fact that you're actually courageous with that action, no matter what, even the mistake or the failure will turn to be a major blessings in your life.
Wow. I think that that's probably the best thing to remember, especially when you don't know. We talked about this, I don't remember, it was last week or the week before, the Libra this month, the month of Libra, we're all going to have an increased tendency to second guess, to worry, did I make the right decision? Was it the right thing to do? Should I have done this differently? Should I have said no or yes or whatever it is? To really lean into the idea that how I make my decision is almost, if not more important than which choice I make. That energy, again, reinforcing the consciousness creates your reality, that if your consciousness is elevated and expansive and you go with certainty, even if it's the wrong decision, circumstances will turn into the right decision. That's a really
beautiful
reminder.
Beautiful.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to share something. I know usually at the end of every episode, we remind you to follow us and go to our website and all those different things. And this past week, someone went to our website, weeklyenergyboost.com, and sent an email asking a really powerful question. And I wanted to share it with everyone because, first of all, it made me laugh and smile and I brought the question to my family, which created a great conversation, really, really interesting revelations. So this person wrote in and said they're a very passionate football fan and they root for their team with great passion, but they also root against their opponents. That every week there's certain players that they don't want to play or teams that they want to lose. And since they've been listening to the podcast and growing and learning so much, they want to make sure that it's spiritually okay to root against a team, a coach, or a player in football. So my family is obsessed with football. So I asked my sons, what do they think about that question? And they're like, of course it's okay. And I said, why do you think it's okay? And they said, well, because I'm not really actually asking for them to get hurt or for something bad to happen to them. I just want them to get out of the way so the people that I want to win are going to win. So I bring this to the conversation because, especially in this month, that our actions are so much more impactful, as it's the first year of the month energetically, the first month of the year energetically for us, and the thoughts, words, and actions that we engage in are that much more impactful. Again, creating that blueprint for the year. So I shared with this listener, and I thought it's important to share with everyone else, theoretically or morally or ethically, it's probably not a big deal to want the team playing your team to lose. But you wouldn't, maybe morally or ethically, we understand that it's not a good idea to wish bad for your neighbor or your friend or the competitor for the product that you create or the other sales guy who might steal your customer. We understand that you shouldn't wish bad for them, but when it's impersonal like this, it seems like it's okay. And the answer we came up with was, it's not okay. Not because something bad's going to happen, but more because whenever we put out energy, negativity, you could even go so far as to call it evil eye, that energy comes back to us, whether we wanted to or not. We believe that what you give is what you get applies when it's positive, but it also applies when it's negative. And it's simply bad business to wish bad for anybody. Not because, God forbid, you're a wizard sitting in your living room on Sunday afternoon watching a football game, but more because of the energy that you attract when you put out that anything but best wishes. So this person wrote back saying, they're going to stop wishing badly for not only, they expanded it to global matters, and I know that it was with a warmth and a smile. It's really against our nature as people to think in those terms that, it's harmless to not, to wish badly for people that we don't know, or, people that we even think are negative or evil. The whole reason that we teach, we understand that we want the light to overcome the darkness. is that we're not going to end darkness by adding more darkness to it. And that's really something else that I think is important as we go into this week, where we have this opportunity to connect to inner peace, world peace, joy, and growth, that we remind ourselves that you cannot defeat darkness with darkness. You can only defeat it with light. And to really operate, pray. I told my son, pray harder for your team with all the energy that you're going to save, no longer wishing ill for the team that they're playing against. And we laughed and we smiled and we thought it was cute. So I want to encourage you to keep sending in your questions, your feedback, your comments about what you get and how you get it and how you're applying what you're applying. We have contact us button on weeklyenergyboost.com that you can reach out to us. Also, if you're following us on social media, you're welcome to comment on our posts or DM us. But being a part, really engaging in what you're learning and applying is really powerful, not only for you, but for us as well. And I want to encourage that. Eitan, any final words before we say goodbye?
Just to conclude your story about, agreeing with your team, liking your team. It can be in anything. It can be in politics. It can be in opinions. It can be in relationship. And it's so essential. One of the most powerful Kabbalistic principles is to have personal opinions, but without disliking and bringing down the other person. So that's what creates success in marriage or in any team, that actually we are very different, we're individuals, but doesn't mean I hate you, and if you'll agree with me, I love you. So that's actually in every aspect of our life. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you to who sent in that email. Thank you guys for listening, for sharing, for rating and reviewing. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.
So that was relatively long today, no?